Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Dimitri Johnson, and you're listening to MMALatestNews.com.
It's time to roll, baby.
Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Latest. This is our UFC Brasilia preview where Kevin Lee takes on Charles Oliveira. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, hit that notification bell as well so you don't miss a video. We've just released our Frank Mir interview. We've had some good stuff at Manchester Top Team. I'm here with Johnnie and James, and we're looking forward to preview the fights ahead where Kevin Lee is back at the lightweight division. He faces Charles Oliveira. His most recent fight was that incredible knockout against Gregory at 244, which we watched on the watch along. What did you make of it?
That knockout, well, I think my reaction on the watch along said it all. I went absolutely mental, didn't I? It was incredible. I think I was like, oh my word, that is the best knockout I've ever seen. It was just incredible.
It was beautiful.
I don't think I said it was the best I've ever seen, but I went, well, I used more expletive language, but it was a great knockout. Yeah. It was absolutely fantastic. I think people
great.
were beginning to write Kevin Lee off a little bit. He's back down at lightweight. And
he's at TriStar now as well.
I think that rejuvenated his career.
Yeah, definitely. I think he had a tough couple of years. That Tony Ferguson lost. You know, he was fighting for an interim belt against Tony Ferguson at 216. He was incredible, and he had staph infection, and then he lost his head coach, or his mentor as well. So he didn't really know where he was. He was sort of in a bit of a limbo spot. He went up to welterweight. That didn't exactly work out for him. I think that was against Damian Maia, wasn't it?
Kevin Lee fought
Damian Maia.
Did he?
Let's see.
Kevin Lee didn't fight Damian Maia. If he got beat by Rafael dos Anjos.
That's the one that I'm thinking of. But yeah, so he's come back down, had a fantastic win against Gillespie. He's back in the rankings now. And obviously he's got to face Charles Oliveira in Brazil.
But the thing is, wasn't he having problems with the weight cut? Hence why
I don't think it was the weight cut. I think I think mentally he just wasn't there because where he'd lost his head coach, his mentor, he hadn't had anyone else.
Yeah, but why? That doesn't mean by not going up in weight. There was a reason why he went up in weight. I think he was. I think underweight.
I think that. But he lost his way. But he's gone up to TriStar now. He's with GSPs with the head coach at
for Sahabi.
So he's got a fantastic camp up there now, and you know he's learning from some of the best, and hopefully
I like Kevin Lee.
Got his career back on track.
I like he's a good.
He's a decent guy. He was great on Brendan
talker.
Sharp's Through Truck Diaries.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot to give to the sport. I think he's got a hell of a lot of talent, and I think if he mentally can get in the right place, then I think there's some big wins for him at 155. I mean, let's not forget, when he fought Tony Ferguson, it was a very competitive fight.
It was.
It was. Where did he go? 3 rounds?
Yeah, Tony Ferguson strangled him unconscious in the third, didn't he? But well, no, actually, I believe Kevin tapped, didn't he? But either way,
trouble.
He gave Ferguson trouble. And I mean, obviously, Khabib will look at that sort of game plan because he'll be looking to do a similar thing. But Kevin Lee, I think he's very impressive. And he had staff in that fight.
Yeah, he did. He didn't come into that healthy, but you know, if he wins this weekend, he's at 13, I believe, in the rankings. That pushes him into the top 10. Then you're looking at a Dan Hooker, a Dustin Poirier, Paul Felder. You know, you could get Kevin Lee, Paul Felder at Dublin.
Yeah, Kevin Lee, Paul Felder's a great fight, and I think Paul Felder's been rumoured to retire. He's not officially announced it yet, so hopefully there's a couple
and he put a tweet out, I think, or something the other day saying, "I've probably got this wrong. I'm probably going to come back." That Dublin card looks pretty tasty.
Fight is always talking emotion. Pre-fight, I wouldn't listen to everything they say. They're in emotion. They're in the zone. When they have reflection, then they sort of say,
but yeah, look, going off Kevin Lee's last 5 victories, last 5 fights, lost to Tony Ferguson, beat Edson Barboza by TKO.
Yeah. Yes, do you remember that fight? Edson Barboza wheel kicked him, and it was one of the worst wobbles I've ever seen.
Then back-to-back losses to Ali Quinto, Rafael dos Anjos, where he moved up, and then a fantastic head kick against Gregory Gillespie. So he hasn't done well. Those names there, Rafael dos Anjos, Ali Quinto, Tony Ferguson.
They're strong names.
He's got wins over Michael Chiesa, Francesco, Trinaldo. He's got some good wins on that record.
Do you remember that Michael Chiesa one at the press conference?
Is that the Your Mum one?
He was having a go at Michael Chiesa's mum, and Chiesa went mental.
Yeah, don't talk about
that
like
Quinto loss. Let's not forget that Ali Quinto was on a bit of a run at that point. He had momentum behind him because he'd just come off the Khabib fight. So
Definitely.
I mean, I think Kevin Lee just went in a bad spell mentally.
Yeah,
when he fought
I think mentally.
I think he's got all the talent in the world. I really do. I think Oliveira might be in for a beating this week.
Yeah, and isn't Chael Sonnen a big advocate for Kevin Lee?
Yeah, Chael Sonnen's a big advocate for every wrestler in the country, isn't he?
He's got to be. Honest. He's a good guy, Chael.
And then I know Damian Maia's fighting this
Gilbert
week.
Burns, he's facing.
Gilbert Burns, and I was informed, I think the other day, that Damian Maia has the longest streak in UFC history without being on the end of a finished loss. Since 2009, 20-something fights. Ridiculous. What a hard man Damian Maia
is a long record, and you know, is it 42, 43?
Yeah,
that is surprising, especially his lack of stand-up. I know he's got better throughout these, but when Damian Maia was first coming in the UFC, it was a jiu-jitsu wizard, and it was at a time where you didn't really have these masters. Obviously, everyone was competent, but you didn't have these masters. He was a pure master, like a Holy Gracie. So his stand-up has evolved throughout the years. So for him not to be actually knocked out shows just how good his stand-up has improved.
Yeah, and his last one was against Ben Askren, where he looked pretty convincing. The wrestler versus jiu-jitsu, it was a question of which one wins on the ground. Their striking was horrendous. Ben Askren.
I mean, the striking was utterly horrendous.
But
I
on the
always
ground,
liked Ben Askren. His strike. Do you remember Ben Askren's spinning back fist? Probably the worst thing I've ever seen. Technically the worst.
But on the ground, a very good fight.
Their grappling. I read something on Twitter like, this is like a fight outside Wetherspoons between two people who just happen to be extremely high-level grapplers.
Yeah.
Like, Ben Askren's wrestling that fight was fantastic. I remember he took one takedown. He got his body at the most ridiculous angle. I think it was in the second round. I was like, really impressed by it. But even still, Damian Maia, just a wizard on the ground. And Ben Askren made the mistake of taking the fight to the ground too early in the rounds.
There's 20, 48. There's about 57 fights on this. Guess how many wins by KO between Gilbert Burns and Damian Maia?
10.
3 wins by KO in 50-odd fights.
So it's gone the distance, probably.
He's got 11 wins by submission, Damian Maia, so and when Gilbert Burns got 4 wins by submission, so you're probably putting your money on a submission win here. 2.4 takedowns each, so it's going to be one on the ground.
Yeah, he's never been a great wrestler, Damian Maia.
No, it's a decent co-main. Both are on win streaks.
What else
as well.
have we got on the card, Mitch? Is there anything
We've got Renato Moicano versus Damir Hadzovic in the bantamweight division.
Moicano can still be a threat at
featherweight division. Yep. We've got Johnnie Walker coming back off his loss against Corey Anderson.
Yeah, what's his mentally? What's he going to be like?
Nikita Krylov, who lost to Glover Teixeira. Yeah, it's interesting how I thought it's his 4th defeat. His first in the UFC, I believe. Be interesting. Only 27 years of age, 6'6", so he's got a huge advantage in terms of 3-inch height.
Who you talking about?
Johnnie Walker.
Yeah,
he's a good lad.
About Anderson, the loss against Anderson.
Yeah, I mean, he lost quite badly.
Yeah, against someone who's he was like a wrestler sort of figure, isn't he?
But before that fight, a lot of people were saying, will Johnnie Walker be a challenge for John Jones? So when psychologically you're in that sort of a place where you think you can beat the greatest of all time, and then you have to have such a huge drop when you lose to Corey Anderson, it's not just that, it's not only your mindset, it's the mindset of how you feel you're perceived by the public.
Definitely.
Because he can go out and think that everybody loves
the fight he had before against, was it Misha Shirkunov where he kneed him in the face? Or was it Misha Shirkunov and then he did the celebration and dislocated his shoulder at the end?
Yeah, I remember it.
And that was the most damage he'd taken inside the octagon.
And then he got battered by Corey
What
Anderson.
time is it in England?
It's going to be midnight, the main card, so it's a decent one. I don't know where
it is. Brazil?
Yeah, I don't know where. I think it's in Sao Paulo.
Again, though, Brazil getting a lot of cards compared to England now.
Yeah, but they've got a huge...
I mean, they're
huge number of fighters in that resume.
Fight, you just assume that he's a wizard at jiu-jitsu, don't you?
Yeah.
But you got Jose Aldo, you got Marlon Moraes in the bantamweight division. You got a couple of flyweights. Figueiredo.
Yeah, but
it's not lacking for big.
No,
I mean, let's face it.
And all the way
outside of the Americans, the Brazilians are the best in the sport.
Brazil,
in fact,
most definitely.
If you look at the greatest of all time, there's a plethora of them that are Brazilian.
Definitely.
And again, I like that word.
It's a great word, plethora.
Look at Jose Aldo, Anderson Silva, some of the greatest we've ever seen from that nation. It started from that nation.
The sport, Ois Gracie, is Brazilian.
Yeah, obviously, but the origin, Brazil Jiu-Jitsu. But what you're saying, Brazil, they've got a lot of stars, but British MMA have a lot of stars as well.
Not at that level, and not to that
level,
quantity.
But what, are you talking about striking, or are you talking
I'm
about
talking about numbers. There's not... we're only a small island compared to Brazil.
After the States, the Brazilians are the best in the sport. 1,000,000%.
Well, who goes next?
Take your word for that, Jim.
Who goes next? Who goes next?
Yeah, what do you mean?
If you had
who's third place?
America, Brazil... Who takes that third spot? Australia?
You know what?
England.
Obviously, there's a lot of English fighters coming through.
Yeah, I think England's close.
New Zealand, Australia collectively
that
a massive hotbed.
You've got to say probably China has some ones, but they're not brought over to the UFC as much.
I mean, it's all in one FC, isn't it? But obviously the Brits have some big names in the UFC.
Canada's done pretty well.
Australia and New Zealand are fantastic. Collectively, you've got the likes of Rob
Mexico,
Whittaker, Dan Hooker, Israel Adesanya, Volkanovski, Mark Hunt as well. They've got some really good names.
Yeah. Let us know your top 3 nations. Who would take your third spot?
I believe it's America, Brazil, and Britain.
Russia now with the Dagestani wrestlers.
Yeah, there's a lot of Russians coming through. I mean, it's becoming more and more of a global sport. Because I remember when I first started watching, if you look at the top 10 rankings, it's American, Brazilian. And now it's, you've got the English fights, you've got the
Irish
fights,
Ireland,
the Irish fights, the Chinese fights.
Ireland, I've got a hotbed of talent. We saw a guy called Paul Hughes at Cage Warriors who was on the prelims. I advise anyone to go and check his highlight reel knockout. This guy did a left head kick. It was walked off calmly, told everyone he's going to be a double Cage Warriors UFC champion. And I believe that dude.
Definitely.
Serious talent, Paul Hughes.
Also on the card, opening the main event is Francesco Trinaldo and John Makdessi. Decent fight. Both both are coming off wins. 41 years of age. Trinaldo now at the lightweight division, 5'9". So it is a decent fight. It's a decent card overall, especially the fight. The fight week after a pay-per-view can always sometimes be a bit weak, but this one seems to be very strong.
It's a good card, I like it. And I especially am looking forward to watching Damian Maia because he's one of the legends of this sport.
Definitely.
A future Hall of Famer, for sure.
You got Formiga versus Brandon Moreno.
I
think so.
I 100% disagree.
You don't think Damian Maia?
Why would he be a future Hall of Fame? He's never won a belt.
You don't have to win a belt.
You don't have to win a belt.
You're
Tell
Faber
me
never won a
the
belt.
big name. Tell me, go on his record.
Ben Askren.
Right, okay.
Ben Askren's a good one. He's
Yeah,
fought,
but
he's
not
been
Ben
around for
Askren
so
in the
long.
UFC. He's 2-0
He's not
in
been
the
finished
UFC.
in 11 years.
But what was his record in the UFC, Ben Askren?
2-0.
Yeah,
No,
he's
1 and 2.
been a one champion in a Bellator.
Talk about Hall of Fame. Just go on Maia's record. Just
It's
tell me
very harsh to
just
say
tell-
that Damian Maia.
No,
Damian-
I'm not saying he's not a good fighter, but to say he's in the Hall of Fame should be the elite.
He is the elite.
Ronaldinho.
He is elite.
But he's elite. He ain't a Ronaldinho or a Messi of MMA. Go on his record.
I'd be very shocked if Damian Maia doesn't end up in there.
Why? I'd come 100%.
Uriah Faber's in there. He didn't win a
Uriah
title.
Faber-
Uriah
Never won a belt.
Faber's fought.
He's not won a title, though.
No, I'm not saying titles, but I'm saying who he's fought.
Damian
And
Maia's
beaten.
fought Anderson,
No,
Silva,
but has he
etc.
beaten these fighters? You can't just say you're in the Hall of Fame because you've fought them.
Okay.
Tell me, maybe
He's
wrong.
beat Masvidal, Carlos Condit, Matt Brown, Gunnar Nelson, John Thitch.
People, right.
He Chael Sonnen he's beat.
When did he beat Charles on it?
UFC 95. He's had a long
He's got
career.
a lot of good wins.
I want everyone to comment.
That
do you
man
think,
goes in the Hall of Fame,
do
no
you
doubt.
I
think-
think Damian deserves a place in
I
there.
want everyone to comment. Do you think Damian Maia deserves to be in the UFC Hall of Fame?
He's been
I
in the
say no.
UFC since
Kind
2007.
of, he's got what the longest ever
13
streak.
years in the UFC.
Probably what the most submissions in UFC history. The longest.
He's up there.
The longest reign of not getting finished.
I still
in
don't
UFC
believe
history.
as a Hall of Fame. I believe the Hall of
That's
Fame
ridiculous.
has to be a president. It has to be a level. Don't get me wrong. World class, elite. Hall of Fame is the best to have ever done it. Is Damian Maia really?
Do you think the difference in ability is that much between Uriah Faber and Damian Maia? Do you think there's a big
No,
difference?
but
in
just look
class?
at who Uriah Faber's beat.
Well, they've got a similar resume in terms of who they beat.
No, but they're different weight
Yep, and
classes.
he's tied for
in
most.
terms of quality of the
You're
resume,
right.
they're
He's
similar.
tied for most submission victories in UFC middleweight history. That's just not even UFC
And
history.
Uriah Faber was a bigger name, much bigger name. than
Uriah
Damian
Faber was a
Maia.
bigger name, but
So that plays a
But
part.
you've got to pay him on the same level.
You've
they're similar.
got to take it on, and I just do not believe Damian Maia, as much as a good fighter he is, deserves to be in the UFC
That's
Hall of
cold.
Fame.
That's cold
Because
heart.
then you
Cold
put-
heart.
No,
That's
because-
cold.
There's a lot of fighters who-
yeah, but then anyone can get in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame should be for the absolute top, the GSPs.
Damian Maia's been around
Does
for years.
Donald
getting
Cerrone
good
getting a
wins for
Hall of
years.
Fame?
Just by.
So what's the difference?
I think Damian Maia's a better fighter
because
than
Donald
Cerrone.
Cerrone, what was his? Some stupid stat. I can't remember.
He's got the most fights and most wins.
Yeah,
But
that's it for that record.
He's
for the
not.
most
I
fight
wouldn't
and
say
most
he's
wins.
on a. If you're tiering these, he's not on a different level to Damian Maia in terms of his longevity, his career,
No, but if
his
you ask
losses
if-
and wins have
Damian
been very
Maia is
similar.
43 and still winning at a high level.
Yeah,
I don't think he's.
he's on that
Hall of
Romero
Fame.
path.
What do you say?
I'd say him, Romero, Cerrone are all on that sort of similar
yeah.
level.
Damian Maia's up there with the best fighters.
Definitely, and he definitely gets in the Hall of Fame for
Yeah,
me.
he'll be in there.
But on the prelims, just to go, Formiga versus Brandon Moreno, two flyweights who could potentially see themselves in a title fight, perhaps next against Figueiredo, or probably be Figueiredo. No, it's vacant.
Do you
It's
think
different.
Figueiredo's guaranteed to get a shot?
I think so because he won that fight.
A million percent, he won the fight conclusively. But with the fact that he missed weight, and I know the same thing sort of happened to Yoel Romero, he missed weight and got
Yeah,
a
it's
title
difficult.
shot. For me, if you miss weight, you shouldn't get another title shot.
think-
There's no guarantee you make it.
Yeah, but Formiga did Formiga miss weight against Benavidez?
Yeah, he missed weight against Benavidez.
Yeah, so it's a different one. I feel so sorry for Benavidez. But you got Figueiredo, you got Keiko of France again over in the Oceania region. He could potentially get the next shot. So yeah, I think France and probably Formiga is probably next, but I think Figueiredo definitely gets
In fact, I
something.
just had a thought. In terms of nations coming through, Nigeria.
Yeah, it's bubbling up slowly. It is slowly rising to the top.
Israel. Who else?
Israel, Usman.
Usman, well, Ngannou's
Yeah.
Cameroon.
Yeah, Ngannou's Cameroon. There's
is it?
another Nigerian
Yeah.
fighter, wasn't there, that's just coming through?
Sadiq Youssef.
Africa, yeah. So Africa's becoming a bit of a hotbed as well.
Amanda Ribas, Randa Marcos in the prelims. You got Elisu dos Santos. So again, it's a very good card and one probably worth staying up for, just slightly.
So talk me through, Mitch. It's Brazil. It's 12 o'clock. Talk me through your night. What takeaway are you getting in?
Well, I don't know if I can afford takeaway this Saturday
Do you have a
on
takeaway
that
this
student
Saturday night?
lifetime. Not always, no. Have to keep it trim.
Let's
But
keep it trim.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I might have a couple of drinks, a couple of ciders. Who knows? But I think I'm looking forward to that card. Now seeing the whole card,
Appeals to you.
we've had 8 weeks back to back. I think the final one's UFC 249 of absolute storms. We've got Leon Edwards next week. We've got Rosenstruck and Ngannou the week after that. That's going to be an absolute war. Maybe only for 30 seconds, but it's going to be war. But
I don't know. You look at the who Ngannou was it? Who did he fight? What's his name?
Derek Lewis.
What, the
Derek
terrible
Lewis,
fight? Yeah, it was
Or
awful.
Curtis Blades, or you could very much, you look at Alistair Overeem against both of those two.
Yeah.
Didn't exactly end
Yeah,
well.
I felt sorry for Alistair Overeem in
Yeah.
that fight
To be
against.
fair, because he beat Rosenstruck for 5 rounds, so it was just that last punch.
But I mean, the ref maybe jumped in a little bit from
Maybe,
there,
but
it's
when you see him drop-
mentioned UFC London there, and it's a huge part for our channel because over the next few weeks we've got some massive stuff. So we're going to be dropping interviews with former heavyweight champion.
That should be out now.
One of the greatest British fighters in all time, Brad Pickett. You've got interviews with Lerone Murphy.
He's fighting on UFC.
Yeah. And Paddy
UFC
the
London.
Paddy. We're going to be doing a watch along for UFC London. There'll be a tap out for that, and then of course there's so much for Khabib.
Yeah,
Ferguson, so
definitely.
it's a great time for the channel.
Definitely.
So you've got to like and subscribe.
Yes, and I think that's a good way to end the preview. Just quicker prediction: Oliveira, Kevin Lee
Kevin Lee wins the fight.
decision. You think it goes all 5 rounds?
After the Gregory Gillespie win, I'm going to say it's a 4th or 5th round
Yeah.
stoppage.
Yourself?
Kevin Lee first round knockout.
Oh,
Like it, bold.
it means I'm in bed by half 3 at the latest. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Kevin Lee winner. I think third round. I think it goes quite a distance, and I think Oliveira's probably got some good work with him. But I think Kevin Lee's just hopefully back for good, and we'll see him against a Dustin Poirier, Dan Hooker, maybe a Gaethje in the next 3 or 4 months,
Yeah.
and he can really push himself back into that title picture where he belongs. So yes, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up there. Drop a like, put your predictions in the comments, like, subscribe, hit us up on socials at MMA Latest on both Twitter and Instagram, and we will see you next week for Split Decision.